everybody. Welcome to Phoenix Theater Company's fall production of Harvey. So my name is Zoha Barwani and I directed Harvey, but the show that we have for you today would not have been possible without the support, dedication, and hard work of every single cast and crew member and our beloved sponsors. So can we give them another round of applause? You enjoy the show that we've worked so hard to produce, and without further ado, we will begin. Thank you.
Mother, but she has guests this afternoon. Who's asking? Oh, hold on just a minute. Just a moment. Mother.
Yes, dear?
Telephone.
Oh, no, dear. Not with all of them in there. Say I'm busy.
The mother's the society editor of the Evening Newsbeat.
The society editor? She's very important. Good afternoon, Miss Ellerby. Yes, this is Veda Simmons. A tea and reception for the members of the Wednesday Forum. You might say program tea. My mother, you know, the late Marcella Penny Dowd, pioneer cultural leader. She came here by Ox Team as a child and founded the Wednesday Forum. Myrtle, how many do you say?
75 at least. Say 100.
75? Miss Tewksbury is the soloist, accompanied by Wild and McCurdy, accompanist.
Mother, Miss Tewksbury is almost finished with her number.
She'll do an encore.
What if they don't give her enough applause?
I've known her for years. She'll do an encore. You might say that I am entertaining, assisted by my daughter, Miss Myrtle May Simmons. What color would you call that?
Rancho Rose, they told me.
Miss Myrtle May Simmons looks charming in a modish Rancho Rose tone crepe, picked up at the girdle with a touch of magenta and emerald. I wish you could see her, Miss Ellerby.
Mother, Miss Tewksbury is almost finished, and where's the cateress?
Everything's ready. As soon as she's finished singing, we open the dining room hall doors and begin pouring. The parlors and halls are festooned with Smilex. Yes, festooned. That's right, Miss Ellerby. Yes, this is the first party we've had in years. There's a reason for it, but I don't want it in the papers. We all have our troubles, Miss Ellerby. The guest list? Oh, yes, of course.
Mother, come.
If you'll excuse me, Miss Ellerby, I'll call you later.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet just walked in.
Miss Eugene Chauvenet Sr.? Her father was a scout with Buffalo Bill.
So that's where she got that hat.
Oh, Myrtle May, you must be nice to Mrs. Chauvenet. She has a grandson about your age.
What difference does it make with Uncle Elwood?
Remember, Myrtle, we agreed not to talk about that this afternoon. The point of this whole party is to get you started. We work through the older women to the younger generation below.
We can't have anyone here in the evenings, and that's when men come to see you. In the evenings. The only reason we can have a party this afternoon is because Uncle Elwood is out playing pinochle at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Thank God for the firehouse.
Well, they'll just have to invite you out, and it won't hurt them one bit. Oh, Myrtle May, you've got so much to offer. I don't care what anyone says. There's something sweet about every young girl. And a man takes that sweetness and look what he does with it. But you've got to meet someone, Myrtle. That's all there is to it.
If I do, they say, that's Myrtle May Simmons. Her uncle is Elwood P. Dowd, the biggest screwball in town. Elwood P. Dowd and his pal.
You promised!
All right, let's get them into the dining room.
Now, when you bring the members in here to make your little welcome speech on behalf of your grandmother, be sure to do this.
And then I say a few words about my Uncle Elwood and his pal Harvey. Damn Harvey!
That's right, Myrtle May. Let everybody in the Wednesday Forum hear you. You said that name. You promised you wouldn't say that name, and you said it.
I'm sorry, Mother, but how do you know Uncle Elwood won't come in here and introduce Harvey to everybody?
This is unkind of you, Myrtle May. Your uncle is the biggest heartache I have. Even if people do call him peculiar, he's still my brother, and he won't be here this afternoon.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
But Mother, why can't we live like other people?
Must I remind you, Elwood is not living with us. We are living with Elwood.
Living with him and Harvey. Did Grandmother know about Harvey?
You know, I've wondered and wondered about that. She never wrote me if she did.
But why did she have to leave all her property to Uncle Elwood?
I suppose it's because she died in his arms. People are sentimental about things like that.
You always say that and it never makes sense. She can't have made out her will after she died, could she?
Don't be didactic, Myrtle May. It's not becoming in a young woman, and men loathe it. Now, remember to wait.
I'll do my best.
Oh dear, Miss Tewksbury's voice certainly is fading.
But not fast enough.
Lovely, Miss Tewksbury, perfectly lovely. I loved it.
Excuse me a moment, I have to answer the phone. Make yourself comfortable, Harvey. Hello? Oh, you've got the wrong number, but how are you anyway? This is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. I'll do? Well, thank you. And what is your name, my dear? Miss Elsie Greenwald? Harvey, it's Miss Elsie Greenwald. And how are you today, Miss Greenwald? That's fine. Why, yes, I would be happy to join your club. I belong to several clubs now. The University Club, the Country Club, and the Pinochle Club up at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. I spend a good deal of my time there, or over at Charlie's place, or over at Eddie's bar. And what is your club, my dear? Harvey, I get the Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, and the Open Road for Boys for $6.25. Sounds fine to me, I'll join it. How does it sound to you, Harvey? Harvey says it sounds fine to him also. He'll join too. Yes, 2 subscriptions. Mails everything to this address. I do hope I have the pleasure of meeting you sometime, my dear. Harvey, she said she would like to meet me too. When? When would you like to meet me? Well, why not right now? My sister seems to be having a few friends in, and we would consider it an honor if you would come and join us. It's 343 Temple Drive. I hope to see you in a few minutes. Goodbye, my dear. Harvey, she's coming right over. Don't you think we'd better freshen up? Yes, so do I.
I can't seem to remember where I put that guest list. I must read it to Miss Ellerby. Have you seen it, Miss Johnson?
No, I have, Miss Simmons.
Look on my dresser.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet, she's asking for you. Here's Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet. Here she is.
Rita Louise Simmons. I thought you were dead.
Oh, no, Aunt Ethel. I'm very much alive, thank you.
And this full-grown girl is your daughter. I've known you since you were a baby.
I know.
What's your name, dear?
Myrtle May, for the 2 sisters of her father. He's dead, that's what confused you.
Where's Elwood?
He couldn't be here today. Why don't I get you some
Elwood
tea?
isn't here?
No.
Oh, shame on him. That was the main reason I came. I want to see Elwood.
Oh, come on, Ethel. There are loads of people anxious to speak with you.
Do you realize, Veda? It's been years since I've seen Elwood.
No, where does the time go?
But I don't understand it. I was saying to Mr. Chauvenet only the other night. What on earth do you suppose has happened to Elwood Dowd? He never comes to the club dances anymore. I haven't seen him at a horse show in years. Does Elwood see anybody these days?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel. Elwood sees somebody.
Oh, yes.
Your Uncle Elwood, child. is one of my favorite people.
Yes, I remember.
Is Elwood happy, Veda?
Elwood's very happy, Aunt Ethel. You don't need to worry about Elwood. Why, look, there's Mrs. Frank Cummings, just came in. Don't you want to speak with her?
My, she looks ghastly. Hasn't she failed, though?
Oh, if you think she looks badly, you should see him.
Oh, is that so? Why, I must have them over. She looks frightful. I thought she was dead.
Oh, no.
Now, what about tea, Veda?
Certainly. If you will excuse me, I will precede you into the kitchen.
Elwood down. Bless your heart.
Aunt Ethel, what a pleasure it is to come in and find a beautiful woman waiting for me.
Oh, Elwood, you haven't changed.
Come along, Aunt Ethel, you mustn't miss the party.
There's punch if you don't like tea.
But I do like tea. Stop pulling at me, you two. Elwood, what night next week can you come to dinner?
Any night at all, Aunt Ethel. I would be delighted.
Elwood, there was some mail came for you today. I brought it up to your room.
Did you, Veda? That was nice of you. Aunt Ethel, I want you to meet Harvey. As you can see, he's a puka. Harvey, you've heard me speak of Mrs. Chauvenet. We always called her Aunt Ethel. She's one of my oldest and dearest friends. Yes, that's right. She's the one. This is the one. He says he would have known you anywhere. You both look lovely. Harvey, come on in with me. We will say hello to all of our friends. If you'll excuse me, Aunt Ethel.
What?
You're standing in his way. Come on, Harvey. Go right on in, Harvey. I'll join you in a minute. Aunt Ethel, I can see you're disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares like that at everybody. It's his way. But he liked you. I could tell. He liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps?
Why, not right now. I think I'll be running along. But
I'm so sorry.
I'll be talking to you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh my God!
Myrtle Bay, where are you going?
Up to my room! He's introducing Harvey to everybody! I can't face those people now! I wish I were dead!
Come here, stay with me. We'll get him out of there and upstairs to his room.
I won't do it! I can't!
Myrtle May! Now, pretend I'm fixing your dress.
Mother...
We must pretend we're having a gay little chat. Keep looking. When you catch his eye, let me know. He always comes when I call him. Now that, do you see him yet?
No, not yet. How do you do, Mrs. Cummings?
Smile, can't you? Have you no pride? I'm smiling. And he's my own brother.
Mother, people get hit by trucks every day. Why can't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle May, I am ashamed of you. This thing is not your Uncle Elwood's fault.
Ouch, you're sticking me with that pin!
That's Miss Ellerby. Keep looking. Keep smiling.
Mrs. Cummings is leaving. Uncle Elwood must have told her what Harvey is.
Hello, this is Miss Veda Simmons. Should you come in the clothes you have on? Well, what have you on? I'm sorry, who is this? But I don't know any Miss Greenewald. Should you what? May I ask who invited you? Mr. Dowd, thank you just the same, but I believe there's been a mistake. Well, I never.
Never what?
One of your Uncle Elwood's friends. She asked if she should bring a quart of gin to the Wednesday forum.
There he is. He's talking to Mrs. Halsey.
Is Harvey with him?
What a thing to ask. How can I tell? How can anybody tell about Uncle Elwood?
Oh, Elwood, can I see you for a moment, dear? I promise you, this is the last time your uncle has disgraced us in this house. I'm going to do something I've never done before.
What did you mean just now when you said this wasn't Uncle Elwood's fault? If it's not his fault, whose fault is it?
Never you mind. I know whose fault it is. Now, lift your head and go back in there as though nothing had happened.
You're no match for Uncle Elwood.
You'll see.
Mother's waiting for you.
Elwood, could I see you for a moment, dear?
Yes, sister. Excuse me, Harvey.
Elwood, would you mind waiting in here for me until the party's over? I need to speak with you. It's very important.
Yes, sister. I happen to have a little free time right now, and you are welcome to all of it. Do you want Harvey to wait, too?
I certainly do.
Harvey. Veda wants to talk to us. She said it was important. I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party. Jane Austen Deluxe Edition, limited Grosset and Dunlap. The usual acknowledgements. Chapter 1.
Mrs. O.R. Simmons, 343 Temple Drive. Is that correct?
We were born and raised there. It's old, but we love it. It's our home.
And you sent your brother here at the sanitarium for treatment? What is his name?
No!
Mrs. Simmons, what is your brother's name?
I'm sorry. Life is not easy for any of us, but I just have to keep my head up and keep going. That's what I keep telling Myrtle May, and that's what Myrtle May keeps telling me. She's heartbroken about her Uncle Elwood. Elwood P. Dowd, that's it.
Elwood P. Dowd. His age?
47 on the 24th of last April. He's a Taurus, Taurus the bull. I'm a Leo, and Myrtle is on a cusp.
47. Is he married?
Oh, Elwood has never been married. He always stayed with Mother. He was a good homeboy. He loved his home.
And you should enter him here for treatment. Do you have him with you now?
Yes, he's in a taxi cab down at the driveway. I paid the driver $1 to watch him, but I didn't tell him why. You can't tell these things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, would you step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if he would be kind enough to step up to room number 24 South Wing G?
Ask him.
This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Why, certainly. Be glad to escort him.
Thank you.
The rates here, Mrs. Simmons, you'll find them printed here.
Oh, that'll all be taken care of by my mother's estate. The late Marcella Penny Dowd. Judge Gaffney is our attorney.
Now I'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see you.
Dr. Sanderson? I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Well, Dr. Chumley's still the head of this institution, isn't he? He's still a psychiatrist, isn't he?
Still a Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Chumley is more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Whenever someone has a mental breakdown, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, that's his office, isn't it? I want you to march right in there and let him know I'm in here. And if he knows who's in here, he'll come out here.
Mrs. Simmons, I wouldn't dare do that. I would be discharged if I did.
Well, I don't like to be pushed off onto any second fiddle.
Second fiddle? Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. He's young, of course. He hasn't been out of medical school very long, but Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Dr. Sanderson. He really is wonderful. To the patient.
Very well. Let him know I'm here.
Right away.
Man, is this wonderful!
No! Oh, dear!
Mrs. Simmons?
Oh, dear. I'm sorry, you startled me. I didn't hear you come in. You're Dr. Sanderson?
Yes. Will you have a seat, please?
Thank you. I hope you don't think I'm jumpy like that all the time.
Of course not. Miss Kelly tells me you are concerned about your brother. Dowd, isn't it? Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, Doctor, This isn't easy for me, Doctor.
Naturally, these things aren't easy for the families of patients. I understand.
That's what Elwood's doing to himself, Doctor. Myrtle May has a right to nice friends. She's young and she has her whole life ahead of her. That's my daughter.
Your daughter. How long has it been since you began to notice any peculiarity in your brother's actions?
Oh, I noticed it right away after Mother died and Myrtle May and I came home from Des Moines to live with Elwood. I could see that he...
What? Take your time, Mrs. Simmons. Don't strain. Let it come. I'll wait for it.
Doctor, everything I say to you is confidential, isn't it?
That's understood.
Because it's a slap in the face to everything we stood for in this community, the way Elwood's been acting lately.
I am not a gossip, Mrs. Simmons. I am a psychiatrist.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Well, don't you call it excess when a man doesn't let a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with riff-raff people you've never heard of, bringing them home, playing cards with them, giving them food and money, and here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people. If that isn't excess, I don't know what excess is.
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Well, I say yes, definitely, he drinks, and I want him committed out here permanently because I can't stand another day of that Harvey. Myrtle May and I have to move over on the sofa and make room for Harvey. We have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to answer the phone when Elwood calls and asks to speak with Harvey. Then at the party this afternoon with Mrs. Chauvenet there, why, we didn't even know anything about Harvey until we got back there. No, be honest with me, Doctor. Don't you think it would have been a little bit nicer of Mother to have written ahead and told us about Harvey? No, be honest with me, don't you?
Well, I really couldn't answer that question.
Well, I can. Certainly it would have.
This person you call Harvey, who is he?
He is a rabbit.
Perhaps. But just who is he? Some companion? Someone who your brother has picked up in these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, I've been telling you. Harvey is a big white rabbit. About 6 feet tall. Was it 6 feet and a half? Heavens knows I ought to know. He's been around the house long enough.
Now, Mrs. Simmons, let me understand
Doctor,
this.
do I have to keep repeating myself? My brother insists that his closest friend is a big white rabbit. This rabbit's name is Harvey. Harvey lives with us. Don't you understand? He and Elwood do everything together. Elwood buys railroad tickets, theater tickets for the both of them. As I said to Myrtle May, if your uncle was so lonesome he had to bring home something, why couldn't he bring home something human? He has me, doesn't he? He has Myrtle May, doesn't he? Doctor, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone before in the world. Sometimes I see that great big white rabbit myself. Isn't that terrible? I've never even told that to Myrtle May.
Mrs. Simmons.
And heavens knows he's every bit as big as Elwood says he is. Oh, now don't tell anyone that, Doctor. I'm ashamed of it.
I can see that you've been under a great nervous strain recently.
I certainly have been.
Grief over your mother's death depressed you considerably?
Nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep?
How can anybody sleep with that going on?
Short-tempered over trifles?
You know what? You try living with those two and see how your temper holds up.
Loss of appetite?
No one could eat with my brother and a big white rabbit! Well, I'm finished with it. I'll sell the house and be appointed governor of Elwood's estate. Then Myrtle May and I can entertain our friends in peace. That's just too much, Doctor. I can't stand it anymore.
Of course. Of course you can't, Mrs. Simmons. You're tired.
Oh, I certainly am.
You've been worrying a great deal.
I have, Doctor. I can't help it.
And now I'm going to help you.
Oh, Doctor.
Just sit there quietly. I'll be right back.
I'll just go down to the cab to get Elwood's things.
Why didn't someone answer the buzzer?
Didn't hear you, Doctor.
I rang and rang, Mrs. Simmons! Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave the grounds.
She's made with a getaway, huh, Doc?
Her condition is serious. Go after her.
I can't believe it.
Main gate, Henry, Dr. Sanderson. Let no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I wouldn't have left her alone, but no one answered the buzzer.
Wilson was in South, Doctor.
What have we available, Miss Kelly?
Number 13 Upper West Side is available, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately, and I will prescribe preliminary treatment. We must contact her brother, Dow, Elwood P. Dow. Get him on the telephone for me, will you, please?
But, Doctor, I didn't know the treatment was for him. The woman came here saying it was for her brother.
Well, of course she did. It's the oldest dodge in the world, always used by a cunning type of psychopath. She apparently knew her brother was coming out here to commit her, so she came out first to discredit him. Get him on the telephone for me, will you, please?
But, Doctor, I thought the woman was all right, so I had Wilson take the brother up to number 24 South Wing G.
You had Wilson take the brother up? No gags, please, Kelly. You're not serious, are you?
Oh, I did, Doctor, I did. I'm terribly sorry.
Well, if you're sorry, then that fixes everything, doesn't it? Oh.
Let me. Ms. Dunphy, would you unlock the door to number 24 and give Mr. Dowd his clothes and
Ask him to step down to the office right away.
ask him to step down to the office right away? There's been a terrible mistake, and Dr. Sanderson wants to explain.
Explain? Apologize.
Thank heaven they hadn't put him in the hydrotub yet. She'll let him out.
Beautiful. And dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Doctor, I feel terrible. I didn't know. Judge Gaffney called and said Mrs. Simmons and her brother would be out here, and when she came in here, you don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't I? Stop worrying. We'll squirm out of it some way.
Where are you going?
I've got to tell the chief about this, Kelly. He might want to handle this himself.
He'll be furious. I know he will. He'll die. And then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility is all mine, Kelly.
Oh no, Dr. Tell me it was my fault.
I never mention your name.
Except in my sleep.
Put this man down.
What about him?
What shall I say to him? What shall I do? He'll be furious.
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied, but he's a man, isn't he?
I guess so. His name is Mr.
So put him through the old routine, you know, the eyes, the swish, the works. I'm immune, but I've seen it work on some people, some patients out here. Keep him here, Kelly.
Even if you have to do a striptease.
Well, of all the... Oh, you're wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, how's about giving me a lift here just the same?
What?
That's Simmons' name.
Oh, did you catch her?
Slick as a whistle. She was coming along the path, humming a little tune. I jumped at her from behind that tree. I says, "Sister, there's a man wants to see you." Should have heard her yell. She's wacky, all right.
Take her up to number 13 Upper West R.
She's there now. I brought her in through the diet kitchen. She's screaming and kicking like hell. I'll hold her if you'll come and undress her.
Just a minute, Wilson. Dr. Sanderson wants me to stay here and wait for the brother to come down.
Make it snappy.
You're Mr. Dowd.
Elwood P.
I'm Miss Kelly.
Let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me this number. Don't call me that one, because that's the old one.
Thank you.
And if you happen to lose it, don't worry. I have plenty more.
Thank you. Won't you have a chair, please?
I'll have two. Allow me.
Dr. Sanderson is very anxious to speak to you. He'll be here in just a minute. Won't you please sit down?
After you, my dear.
Oh, I really can't. I'm in and out all the time, but please have a seat.
After you.
Can I get you something to look at? A magazine, perhaps?
I would much rather look at you, Miss Kelly, if you don't mind. You really are very lovely.
Thank you. Some people don't seem to think so.
Some people are blind. That is very often brought to my attention. And I would like to introduce you to
Mr. Dowd!
Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me...
Mr. Dowd, I'm Dr. Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Trumley's assistant out here.
Well, good for you. I'm happy to know you. How are you, Doctor?
That's going to depend on you, I'm afraid. Would you have a seat, please? You've met Miss Kelly, Mr. Dowd.
I have had that pleasure.
Would you have a seat, please?
After Miss Kelly.
Sit down, Kelly. Is that chair quite comfortable, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, yes, Doctor. Would you care to try it?
No, thanks. How about an ashtray? Can we get Mr. Dowd an ashtray? Is it too warm in here for you, Mr. Dowd? Would you like me to open a window?
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson would like to know if you should open a window.
That is entirely up to him. I wouldn't presume to live his life for him.
Now then, Mr. Dowd, I can see that you're not the type of person to be taken in by any high-flown phrases or beating about the bush.
Is that so, Doctor?
You have us at a disadvantage here. You know it, we know it. Let's lay the cards on the table.
That certainly appeals to me, Doctor.
Best way in the long run. People are people, no matter where you go.
That is very often the case.
And being human are therefore liable to mistake. Miss Kelly and I have made a mistake this afternoon, Mr. Dowd, and we'd like to explain it to you.
It wasn't Mr. Dowd, please. It wasn't Dr. Sanderson's fault. It was mine.
A human failing, as I said.
I find it very interesting, nevertheless. You and Miss Kelly here? This afternoon, you say?
We do hope you'll understand, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, yes. These things are very often the basis of a
long and warm friendship.
And the responsibility is, of course, not hers, but mine.
Your attitude may be old-fashioned, Doctor, but I like it.
Now, if I had seen your sister first, that would have been an entirely different story.
Now, there you surprise me. I think the world and all of Beta, but I suppose she had seen her day.
Well, you mustn't attach any blame to her. She is a very sick woman. Came in here demanding that you were in need of treatment. Why, that's perfectly ridiculous.
Veda shouldn't worry about me. I get along fine.
Exactly, but she had already talked to Miss Kelly, and there was a call from the family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Oh yes, I know him. Know his wife too. Nice people.
Is there something I can get for you, Mr. Dowd?
What did you have in mind?
A light. Here, how about a light? Your sister was extremely nervous and plunged immediately into a heated tirade on your drinking.
That was Veda.
She became hysterical.
I tell Veda not to worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Exactly. So you may take a drink now and then, same as the rest of us?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I would like one right now.
As a matter of fact, so would I. But your sister's reaction to the matter was entirely too intense. Does your sister drink, Mr. Dowd?
No, Doctor. No, I don't think Veda has ever taken a drink.
Well, I'm going to surprise you. I think she has, and does, constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not her alcoholism that will be my basis for the diagnosis of her case. Rather, it was when she began talking so emotionally about this big white rabbit, Harvey. Yes, I believe she called him Harvey.
Harvey's his name.
She claimed you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
I've been persecuting her with Harvey. Veda shouldn't feel that way. And before we go any further...
Let me make my point first, Mr. Dowd. The condition of your sister's did not stem up overnight. Her condition stems from trauma.
From what?
Trauma, spelled T-R-A-U-M-A. Simply put, it means shock. There is the birth trauma, the shock of being born.
That's the one we never get over.
Mr. Dowd has a nice sense of humor, doesn't he, Miss Kelly?
Yes, Doctor.
To sum it all up, your sister's condition is serious, but I can help her. She must, however, be committed out here temporarily.
I've always wanted Veda to have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want her to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay out here.
Of course.
Did Wilson get what he went after?
Yes, Doctor.
And what was Mr. Sims' attitude to the matter?
Not unusual, Doctor.
Mr. Dowd, if this were an ordinary delusion, something reflected in the memory picture, in other words, if your sister was seeing something she had seen before, that would be one thing. But it stands to reason that no one has ever seen a great white rabbit 6 feet high.
Not very often, Doctor.
I like you, Dowd.
I like you too, Doctor. And Miss Kelly here. I like her too.
So, your sister must be committed out here temporarily. Under these conditions, I would commit my own grandmother.
Does your grandmother drink too?
It's just an expression. Now, can I have you sign these temporary commitment papers as next of kin?
You'd better have Veda do that. She always does all the signing and managing for the family. She's good at it.
We mustn't disturb her now.
Perhaps I'd better talk it over with Judge Gaffney?
You can explain it all to him later. Tell him I advised it. And it's not as if you couldn't drop in and make inquiries. Glad to have you. I will make out a full visitor's pass for you. When would you like to come back? Wednesday? Say Friday? Say?
You've all been so pleasant I could come back right after dinner. About an hour.
Well...
In fact, I don't really have to go now. I'm not very hungry.
Well... Miss Kelly and I have to go upstairs now. Plenty of work to do. But I tell you what you might like to do.
What might I like to do?
We don't usually do this. But just to make sure in your mind that your sister is in good hands, why don't you have a look around the place? If you go past the staircase to the left, you'll find the diet kitchen, and then the conservatory, and then the library.
For Veda's sake, I believe I'd better do that, Doctor.
Excellent. It's been a great time having this little talk with you, Mr. Dowd.
May I say the same about both of you?
And I will say that, for a layman, you have an acute knowledge of psychiatric problems.
Is that so, Doctor? I never thought I had any idea on the matter. Nobody does, do you think?
Well, the good psychiatrist is not found under every bush.
You have to pick the right bush. Since we've all enjoyed ourselves so much, why don't we go down to Charlie's place and have a drink?
When I find people pleasant, I like to stay right with them.
Well, Miss Kelly and I are rather busy, but we'd be happy to take a rain check.
When? When would you be glad to?
Well, we don't get off work until 10 o'clock at night.
Let us go to Charlie's place at 10 o'clock tonight.
Well...
And you, Miss Kelly?
Well, I would love
Dr. Chumley doesn't usually approve of members of the staff fraternizing. But I guess we can make it.
I'll pick you up out here in a cab at 10 o'clock tonight, and the four of us will spend a happy evening. I want you to become friends with a very dear friend of mine, but you said later on, so later on it will be. Goodbye now.
Now I can breathe again.
Boy, that was a close shave, all right. But he seemed to be a pretty reasonable sort of fellow. That man is proud. What he has to be proud of, I have no idea. I played up to that pride. You can get to almost anybody if you want to. Now I must look in on that Simmons woman.
Dr. Sanderson, you say you can get to anybody if you want to. How can you do that?
Takes study, Kelly. Years of specialized training. There's only one thing I don't like about this Dow business.
What's that?
Having to make that date with him. Of course, the man has left here a good friend and booster of the sanitarium, so I guess I'll have to go tonight, but you don't have to go.
Oh.
No point in it. I'll have a drink with him, pat him on the back, and leave. Got a date tonight anyway.
Oh. I didn't intend to go anyway. The idea bored me stiff. I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my life depended on it.
What is the matter, Kelly? What are you getting so emotional about?
He may have been a peculiar man with funny clothes, but he knew how to act. His manners were perfect.
I saw you giving him the dull puss stare. I didn't miss that.
He wouldn't sit down until I sat down. He told me I was lovely and he called me dear. I'd go have a drink with him. If you weren't going.
Sure you would! And look at him, all that corny bowing and hanging around bars. Why, he's as outdated as a cast iron deer! But you still sit with him in a bar and let him flatter you! You're a wonderful girl, Kelly.
Now let me tell you something.
Dr. Sanderson! Miss Kelly.
Yes, Doctor.
Tell the gardener to prune more carefully around my prized dahlias alongside the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for cutting next week.
Yes, Doctor.
The difficulty of the woman with the rabbit. Has it been smoothed over?
Yes, Doctor. I spoke to her brother and he was quite reasonable.
Well, I've had many patients out here who have seen animals. I've never before had a patient who's seen an animal who's quite that large.
Yes, Doctor. She called him Harvey.
Harvey! Unusual name for an animal of any kind. Harvey is a man's name, and while I've known several men in my day who went by the name of Harvey, I've known no animal whatsoever who's went by that name. The case has an interesting phase, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
I'll now go upstairs with you and look in on this woman. It may be that we can use my formula 977 on her. I will assist you in prescribing the treatment, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
And now, may I ask, what is that hat and coat doing on that table over there? Whose is it?
I don't know. Miss Kelly, was it Dowd's?
No, he had his hat on when he left, Doctor. Perhaps it belongs to a relative of one of the patients?
Hand me the hat. There may be some kind of identification in there. Here, see? 2 holes cut in the crown of this hat.
That's strange.
Some new fad. Put them away, hang them up, get them out of here.
Hello, Dr. Chumley.
Oh, there you are.
How is every little old thing?
There, thank you, Wilson, there.
Look, somebody's gonna have to give me a hand with this Simmons date. She's terrible. Forgot me, didn't you? Well, I got her course set off all by myself.
We were just going up to see this patient, Wilson.
She's in a hydro tub now. My God, I left the water running on her.
Willie, remember your promise. Hello, Dr. Sanderson. Willie, don't forget Dr. McClure's cocktail party. We've promised them faithfully.
That's right. I have to go upstairs and look in on a patient now. I'll be back down shortly.
Give a quick little diagnosis, Willie. We don't want to be late for that party. I'm dying to see the inside of that house. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Mrs. Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
I'm happy to know you. The name's Dowd, L&P. Let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one, because that's the old one.
Thank you. Is there something that I can do for you?
What did you have in mind?
You seem to be looking for someone.
Yes, I'm looking for Harvey. I went off without him.
Harvey. Is he a patient here?
Oh no, nothing like that.
Does he work here?
No. Harvey is what you might call my best friend. He's also Puka. He came out here with me and Veda this afternoon.
Where was he when you last saw him?
In that chair there with his hat and coat on the table.
There doesn't seem to be any hat and coat around here now. Perhaps he left?
Apparently. I don't see him anywhere.
What was that word you just said? Puka?
Yes, that's it.
Is that something new?
Oh no. As I understand it, that's something very old.
Oh, really? I had never happened to hear it before.
I'm not too surprised about that. I had myself until I met him. I do hope you get the pleasure to meet him sometime, Mrs. Chelmy. I'm sure he would be quite taken with you.
Oh, really? That is very nice of you to say so, I'm sure.
Oh, not at all. If Harvey happens to take a liking to someone, he expresses himself quite definitely. If he's not particularly interested, he sits there like an empty spot on the floor, an empty chair. Harvey takes his time making his mind up about people. Choosy, you see.
Oh, that's not such a bad way to be in this day and age.
Harvey is fond of my sister, Veda. That's because he's fond of me, and Veda and I come from the same family. Now, you'd think that feeling would be mutual, wouldn't you? But Veda doesn't seem to care for Harvey. Don't you think that's rather too bad, Mrs. Chumley?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I gave up a long time ago expecting my family to like my friends. It's useless.
But we must keep on trying.
There's no harm in trying, I suppose.
Because if Harvey has said to me once, he's said to me 1,000 times, Mr. Dowd, I would do anything for you. Mrs. Chumley.
Yes?
Did you know that Mrs. McElhinney's Aunt Rose is going to drop in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland?
Why, no, I
Neither
didn't.
is she. That puts you both in the same boat, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know anybody named Ms.
Mrs. McElhinney lives next door to us. She's a wonderful woman. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. That's an interesting little news item, and you are perfectly free to pass it around.
Well,
Would you like to join me, Mrs. Chumley? I would be glad to buy you a drink downtown.
Oh, thank you, but I'm waiting for Dr. Chumley, and if he were to come down and find me gone, he would be liable to raise. He would be irritated.
We wouldn't want that, would we?
I'll tell you what I'll do, however.
What will you do, however? I'm interested.
If your friend comes in while I'm still here, I would be happy to give him a message for you.
Would you do that for me? I would certainly appreciate that.
Oh, no trouble at all. I'll write it down on the back of this. What would you like me to tell your friend if he comes in while I'm still here?
Ask him to meet me downtown, if he has no other plans.
Meet Mr. Dowd downtown. Any particular place downtown?
Harvey knows where. Harvey knows this town like a book.
Harvey, you know where. Harvey what?
Just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Doctor and I are going right downtown to 12th and Montague. Dr. McClure is having a cocktail party.
A cocktail party at 12th and Montview.
We're driving there in a few minutes. I could give your friend a lift into town.
I would hate to impose on you, but I would appreciate that very much.
Oh, no trouble at all. Dr. McClure is having this party for his sister from Wichita.
I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
Oh, you know Dr. McClure?
No.
But...
Are you sure you couldn't join me downtown?
Oh, I really couldn't, but thank you just the same.
Some other time, perhaps?
Thank you.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Chumley. You can't miss Harvey. He's very tall, like that.
That Simmons woman is uncooperative, Doctor. Refuses to admit that she's got this rabbit. Insists that it's her brother. In any case, give her 2 of these at 9. Another at 10 if she continues to be so uncooperative. A trip to the hydro room at 7, and another in the morning at 8. Then we'll see if she won't cooperate tomorrow, won't we, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor.
You know where to call me if you need me. Ready, Pet?
Yes, Willie. And, oh, Willie.
Yes.
There was a man here, a man named, let me see. Oh, here's his card. Dowd, Elwood P. Dowd.
That's Mrs. Simmons' brother, Doctor. I told him he could look around, and I gave him full visiting privileges.
She mustn't see anyone tonight. Make that clear to him.
Okay,
Yes,
he
Doctor.
didn't ask to see her. He was looking for someone, some friend of his.
Who could that be, Dr. Sanderson?
I don't know.
He said it was someone he came out here with this afternoon.
Was there anyone with Dowd when we saw him this afternoon, Miss Kelly?
Not when I saw him, Doctor.
Oh, well, he said there was. He said he last saw his friend sitting right there in that chair with his hat and coat on the table. He seemed quite disappointed.
Dr. Sanderson.
I told him if we located his friend, we could give him a lift into town. He could ride in the back seat. Was that all right, Willie?
Of course, of course.
Oh, here it is. I wrote it down on the back of this card. His friend's name was Harvey.
Harvey?
He didn't give me a last name. He mentioned something else about him, a hookah, but I didn't quite get what that was.
Harvey?
He said his friend was very tall. Well, why are you looking like that, Willie? This man was a very nice, polite man, and he really asked that we get his friend a lift into town. And if we can't do a favor for someone, then why are we living?
By George, get me that back. We'll find out.
Main gate, Henry, Dr. Sanderson. Did a man in a brown suit call the gate a minute ago? He did? He's gone!
Hello, Judge Gaffney. This is Dr. William Chumley, the psychiatrist. I was simply making a routine checkup on the spelling of a name before entering it into our records. You telephoned out here this afternoon about having a client of yours committed. How's that name spelled? With a W? Not a U? Mr. Elwood P. Dowd? Thank you, Judge Gaffney. Sanderson. I do believe your name is Sanderson.
Yes, doctor.
You know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went forth. Perhaps they neglected to tell you that a rabbit has 2 large pointed ears, and that a hat for a rabbit would be perforated to make room for those ears.
Mr. Dowd seemed perfectly reasonable enough this afternoon, sir.
Doctor, the function of a psychiatrist is to tell the difference between those who are reasonable and those who really talk and act reasonably. Do you realize what you've done to me? You don't answer. I'll tell you. You allowed a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds with an overgrown white rabbit, and you subjected me, a psychiatrist, to the humiliation of having to call, of all things, a lawyer to find out who came out here to commit and who came out here to be committed. Just a minute, Wilson, I need you. I'll now have to do something I haven't done in 15 years. I'll go out after this patient Elwood P. Dowd, and when I bring him back, your connection with this institution is terminated as of that moment. Wilson, get the card. Dear, tell the McClures we can't make it tonight. And Miss Kelly, come upstairs with me so we can get that woman out of that tub.
Yes, doctor. Oh, perhaps will be home for dinner. She'll be furious.
Yes, ma'am.
What is a hookah?
Oh, what?
A hookah?
You can search me, Mrs. Jones.
Oh, I wonder if it would be an encyclopedia here. They have everything in here. I wonder if it's large or what it is. I don't dare to stop to do this now. Dr. Chumley won't want to find me still here when he gets down with Hugh Rays. I mean, oh dear.
P-O-O-K-A, hookah, from old Celtic mythology. A fairy spirit in human form, always very large. The hookah appears here and there, now and then, says this one and that one in his own caprice. A wise but mischievous creature, very fond of rum pots, crack pots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? How are you, Mr. Wilson? Who in the encyclopedia wants to know? What's it helping you?
That's right, the stairs at the end of the hall. Go right up. I'll be with you in a moment.
Whoa! Where is she?
Where's who? Whom do you mean, Judge Gaffney? Sit down, won't you?
Where is your mother? Where is Vela Louise?
Why, Judge Gaffney, you know where she is. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium.
I know that. But why was I called the club with a lot of hysteria? Couldn't even get what you was talking about. Carrying on something fierce.
Mother, carrying on? What about?
I don't know. She was hysterical.
That's strange. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium. All she had to do was put him in. You found it? I'll be right up. They found it.
Who? From what? What are you talking about?
Well, Uncle Elwood went with Mother to the sanitarium. I went over to the real estate office to put the house on the market. And what do you think I found there?
I'm not a quiz kid.
I found a man who was looking for an old house just like this to cut up into buffet apartments. He's going through it right now.
Now, see here, Myrtle May. This house doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your Uncle Elwood.
But with Uncle Elwood locked up, Mother controls the property, doesn't she?
Where is she? Where is Vela Louise?
Judge, she went to Chumley's Rest to tell them about Harvey and put Uncle Elwood in.
Well, why'd she call me while I was at the club, in the middle of a game, screaming at me to meet her here, about something important?
I don't know. I simply don't know. Have you got the deed to this house?
Yes, certainly. It's in my safe. Myrtle, I feel bad about this whole thing of locking Elwood up.
Mother and I will be able to take a long trip now, out to Pasadena.
I always liked that boy. He could have done anything, been anything. Made a place for himself in this community.
And all he did was get a big rabbit.
Oh, of course, he had everything. Brains, personality, friends. Men liked him. Women liked him. I liked him.
Are you saying that once Uncle Elwood was like other men, that women actually liked him? I mean, in that way?
Oh, not since he started running around with that big white rabbit. What they did once that mailbox to your grandmother's was filled with those little blue scented envelopes for Elwood.
I can't believe it.
Oh, of course, there was always something different about Elwood.
I don't doubt that.
He took and he changed the plan so calmly. I used to admire him. I should have been suspicious. Take your average man looking up and seeing a great white rabbit. He'd do something about it. Not Elwood. He took that calmly too. Look where it got him.
You don't dream how far overboard he's gone with this rabbit.
Oh, yes, I do. He's had that rabbit in my office many a time. I'm old, but I don't miss much. Ah! What was that?
Respected buyer on the 3rd floor. Mother! Look, Judge!
Ben Louise, what's wrong, girl?
I never thought I'd see either of you again!
Don't hold her, Judge. She looks like she's going to faint.
Let me sit down! Only give me someplace where I can sit down!
Mother, you're all right. You're going to be perfectly all right.
Let Myrtle get you some tea, Fatal.
I'll give you some tea, Mother. Get her coat up, Judge.
Let Myrtle get your coat off, Fatal.
Alone! Let me sit here! Let me catch my breath!
Let her catch her breath, Judge.
Let me sit here for a minute, and then let me go upstairs to my own bed where I can let go!
What happened to you, Mother?
Omar, I want you to sue them. They put me in and let Elwood out!
What's this?
Mother!
Just look at my hair!
Why? What did you say? What did you do? You must have done something.
I didn't do one thing. I simply told them about Elwood and Harvey.
Then how could this happen to you? I don't understand it.
I told them about Elwood, and then I went down to the cab to get his things. As I was walking along the path, this awful man stepped out. He was a white slaver. I know he was. He had on one of those white suits. It's how they advertise.
A man? What did he do, Mother?
What did he do? He took a hold of me and he...
Oh, poor Mother. Was he a young man?
Myrtle, perhaps you better leave the room.
Now? I should say not. Go on, Mother.
What did you do, Fatal?
He took me upstairs and he tore my clothes off.
Go on, Mother.
And then he sat me down in a tub of water.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I always thought that what you wear showed on your face. Don't you believe it, Judge? Don't you believe it, Myrtle? This man took a hold of me like I was a woman of the streets. But I fought. I always said if a man jumped at me, I'd fight. Haven't I always said that, Myrtle?
She's always said that, Judge. His mother always told me to.
But then he hustled me into that sanitarium and sat me down in that tub of water and began treating me like I was a...
Oh, what?
A crazy woman! But he did that just for spite.
Well, I'll be damned!
And then all those doctors came upstairs and started asking me all sorts of questions all about sex urges and all that filthy stuff. That place ought to be cleaned up, Omar. You've got to get the authorities to clean it up. Myrtle, mate, don't you ever go down there, you hear me?
This stinks, Veda, by God, this stinks!
We've got to do something about it, Judge. You've got to sue them!
Oh, I will, girl, I will! If Chumley thinks he can run an unsavory place like that on the outskirts of town, he'll be publicly chastised. I'll run him out of the state!
Tell me, Judge, is that all doctors think about at places like these? Think about sex?
I don't know!
Because if it is, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's all in their heads anyways. Why don't they go out and go for long walks in the fresh air? Judge Gaffney walked everywhere for years. Now didn't you, Judge?
Let me take some notes on this. You say these doctors, Dr. Chumley, and what was the other doctor's name?
Sanderson. But don't you pay any attention to anything he tells you, Judge. He's a liar, close-set eyes. They're always liars. Besides, I told him something in strictest confidence, and he blabbed it.
What did you tell him, Mother?
What difference does it make? I don't even want to talk about it. You can't trust anyone.
Now, see here, anything you told this Dr. Sanderson, you can tell us. This is your daughter, and I'm your lawyer.
I know which is which. I don't want to talk about it. I want to sue them, and I want to get upstairs to my own bed.
But Mother, this is the important thing anyways. Where's Uncle Elwood?
I should have known better than to try and do something about him. Something protects him, that awful Puka!
Answer me, where is Uncle Elwood?
How should I know? They let him go. We're not interested in men at places like these, Myrtle May. Don't act so naive.
We've got to find Uncle Elwood. No matter what happened out there, we've still got to find Uncle Elwood.
I don't know where he is. Next time you take him, Judge. Just wait until Elwood hears about what they did to me. He won't stand for it. Judge, don't you forget to sue them. Myrtle May, I hope that never, never, as long as you live, a man pulls the clothes off you and dumps you down in a tub of water.
Now see, Mother knows everything. No matter what happened out there, Uncle Elwood still wandered around with Harvey.
The thing for me to do is take some more notes.
It's all Uncle Elwood's fault. He found out what she was up to and he had to put in. Then he ran.
Oh, no, don't talk like that. Your uncle thinks the world and all of your mother. Ever since he was a child, he shared everything he had with her.
I'm not giving up. We'll find detectives. We'll find him. And besides, you'd better save some of that sympathy for me and Mother. You don't dream what we've had to put up with. Wait till I show you something he brought home about 6 months ago, and we had to hide it out in the garage. Just you wait, Judge.
I'm going up to talk to Veda. There's more in this than she's telling. I sense that.
Wait till I show you, Judge.
All right. Oh, wait.
Okay, is he here?
What's this?
That crackpot with the rabbit, is he here?
Oh, no. May I ask who you are?
Not here, Doctor. Okay. Dr. Chumley's coming in anyway. What's your name?
Chumley. Well. Have I got a thing to say to him?
What's your name? Let's have it.
I am Judge Omar Gaffney.
The reason I asked your name is the doctor always likes to know who he's talking to. This guy says his name is Judge Gaffney, Doctor.
Chumley! Well!
Good evening, Judge Gaffney. Let's not waste time. Has he been here?
Oh, no. But see here,
sure
Doctor.
He ain't been here? He's wise now. He's hiding. It'll be an awful job to smoke him out.
It'll be more difficult, but I'll do it. They're sly. They're cunning, but I get them. I always get them. Have you got the list of places we've been, Wilson?
Right here, Doctor.
Read it.
We've been to 17 bars. Eddie's Place, Charlie's Place, Bessie's Barn, named for 4th Avenue Firehouses, 10th, 12th, and 9th Avenue Firehouses. Just to make sure. The Union Station, the grain elevator. Say, why does this guy go down to a grain elevator?
The foreman's a friend of his. He has many friends, many places.
I've simply come down here to ask Mrs. Simmons if she has any other suggestions as to where we might be looking for him.
Now, see here, Doctor. I have to inform you that Mrs. Simmons has retained me to file suit against you.
What?
For what happened during the sanitarium this afternoon.
A suit?
And while we're on that subject...
That's pretty, ain't it, Doctor? After us dragging your tail all over town trying to find that guy.
What happened this afternoon was an unfortunate mistake, and I've discharged my assistant who made it. I'm prepared to take charge of this man's case personally. It interests me, and my interest in the case is something no amount of money can buy. You can ask any of them.
What this business this afternoon, Doctor?
Water under the dam. Here's how I see this thing. I see it this way. The important thing now is to get that man back to the sanitarium where he belongs.
That's right, Judge. It's just what I think.
Let me introduce Miss Myrtle May Simmons. Mrs. Simmons' daughter, Mr. Dowd's niece.
How do you do, Dr. Chumley?
How do you do, Miss Simmons?
Hello, Myrtle.
Now then, let me talk to Mrs. Simmons.
Mother won't come down, Doctor. I know she won't. You tried to get her to talk to him, Judge.
Now, see here. Your mother was manhandled. She was... God knows what she was. The man's approach to her was not professional. It was personal.
Wilson, this is a very serious charge.
Doctor, I've been with you for 10 years. Are you gonna believe... What's your name again?
Gaffney. Judge Omar Gaffney.
Thanks. Take the word of this old blister.
Wilson!
David sees a rabbit.
It's not Mrs. Simmons who sees a rabbit. It's her brother.
Yes, it's Uncle Elwood.
If you'll come with me, Doctor.
Wilson, I have a situation here. Wait for me.
Okay, Doctor. your name's Myrtle May.
What? Yes.
If we grab your uncle, you're liable to be coming out to the sanitarium on visiting days?
I suppose so.
Well, if you do, I'll be there.
You will?
And if you don't see me at first, don't give up. Stick around. I'll show up.
You will?
Sure. You heard Dr. Chumley tell me to wait?
Yes.
Tell you what, while I'm waiting, I sure could use a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Certainly, if you'll forgive me, I'll precede you into the kitchen.
Yes, sir. You're all right, Myrtle.
What?
Dr. Chumley noticed it right away. You don't miss a trick. Tell you something else, Myrtle.
What?
You not only got a nice build, kid, but you got something else, too.
What?
You got the screwiest uncle that ever stuck his puss inside our nut house.
Hello? Chumley's Rest? Is Dr. Chumley there? Oh, it's Mrs. Chumley. How are you, Mrs. Chumley? That's fine. Tell me, were you able to locate Harvey? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll find him. And I'm sorry I missed you at the McClure cocktail party. The people were all charming, and I was able to leave quite a few of my cards. I waited until you phoned and said you couldn't come because a patient had escaped. Where am I? I'm here. But I'm leaving right away. I must find Harvey. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Chumley. My regards to you and anybody you happen to run into. Goodbye.
You may as well go home and wait. I'm suing you for $50,000, and that's fine.
Mrs. Simmons.
Hello. Well, all right.
This picture over on your mantle.
I'll have you know that portrait is the pride of this house. Hello. Yes. No. This is Dexter 1567.
Well, I suppose if you have the money to pay people, you can convince them to do anything.
Doctor, why don't you help me out of that tub at your place? What did I say to you?
You expressed yourself. I don't quite remember the words.
I said to you, Dr. Chumley, this is a belated civility. Now, isn't that what I said?
You said something along those lines.
Well, you brought this up. You may as well learn something quick. I took a course in art this last winter. The difference between a fine oil painting and a mechanical thing like a photograph is simply this. A photograph shows only the reality. A painting shows not only the reality, but the dreams behind it. It's our dreams that keep us going, that separate us from the beast. Why, I wouldn't even want to be living if I thought it was all just eating and breathing and taking off my clothes. Oh, well, putting them back on again. Oh, doctor, hold me!
Steady, steady now. Don't get excited. Everything's all right. Now, what's the matter?
Doctor, that is not my mother!
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, doctor, Elwood's been here. He's been here.
Better be quiet. I'll take it. Hello? Yes, yes. Who is this speaking? Here he is, Mrs. Simmons. It's your brother.
Let me speak to him.
Now, don't tell him I'm here. Be casual.
Hello, Elwood. Where are you? Where? Well, all right. You won't tell me where he is. He says for me to call Harvey to the telephone. Is Harvey here?
Well, say Harvey is here.
But he isn't.
Well, tell him then. Perhaps that'll bring him here. Humor him. We have to humor them.
All right. Hello, Elwood. Yes, Harvey is here. Why don't you come home? What? Oh, with Harvey?
Well, say Harvey is here, but say he can't come to the telephone. Say he's in the bathtub.
The bathtub.
Say he's in the bathtub and he can't come to the telephone. And you'll send him over there. That way we'll find out where he is.
Oh, Doctor!
Now you've got to do it, Mrs. Simmons.
All right. Hello, Elwood. Yes, Harvey is here, but he's in the bathtub. I'll send him over as soon as he's dry. Where are you, Elwood? Where?
Did he hang up?
Harvey just walked in the door. He said for me to look upstairs in the bathtub. It must be a stranger. But I know where he's at. He's at Charlie's place. That's a bar down at 12th and Main.
12th and Main. That's 2 blocks down and 1 across, isn't it?
Doctor, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to get your brother to take him back to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Oh, Doctor, don't do that. Send one of your attendants. I'm warning you.
But, Mrs. Simmons, if I'm to help your brother...
He can't be helped. He must be picked up and locked up and left.
You consider your brother a dangerous man?
Dangerous.
Why?
Well, I can't tell you why. But if I didn't think so, why would I be asking for a permanent commitment for him?
Then I must observe this man. I must observe the expression on his face as he talks to this rabbit.
They tell each other everything.
What's that?
I said, yes, he speaks with the rabbit. But don't go after him, Doctor. You'll regret it if you do.
Nonsense. You underestimate me, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, no, Doctor. You underestimate my brother.
Don't worry now. I'll take care of it.
Don't worry now. I'll take care of it. That's what you think. Myrtle May, go see who's upstairs in the bathtub. Oh! Oh.
Thank you. I may call again later.
How about the stuff in your room, Doctor, upstairs?
All packed. Thanks, Wilson.
Tough you're getting bounced. I had you pegged for the one who'd make the grade.
Those are the breaks.
When you taking off?
As soon as Dr. Trumley gets back.
Hey, did you get a report back yet from the desk sergeant in the police accident bureau?
Not yet. I just talked to the downtown dispensary. They haven't seen him.
It's beginning to smell awful funny to me. 4 hours he's been gone and not a word from him. I may not see you again, Doctor, so I want to say I wish you a lot of luck and I'm mighty sorry you got a kick in the ass. Let's pray.
Thanks, Wilson. Good luck to you too.
Look, Kelly, let me know when you hear from the desk sergeant again. If there's no sign of the doctor, I'm gonna go into town and look for him. He should know better than to go after a psycho without me.
I'd like to help look for the doctor too, Wilson.
That's swell, you doctor. Right after he give you the brush.
I've no resentment against Dr. Trumley. He was right, I was wrong. Dr. Trumley is the biggest man in his field. It's my loss not to be able to work with him.
You're not so smart yourself, doctor.
Thanks, Wilson.
Don't mention.
Dr. Sanderson.
Yes?
I'd just like to say that I wish you a lot of luck too, and I'm sorry to see you leave.
Are you sure you can spare these good wishes, Miss Kelly?
On second thought, I guess not. Forget it.
Miss Kelly, this is for nothing. Just a little advice. I'd be a bit more careful if I were you about the kind of company I kept.
I beg your pardon?
You don't have to. I told you it was free. I saw you Saturday night dancing with that drip down at the Rose Room of the Frontier Hotel.
Did you? I didn't notice you.
I'd be careful of him if I were you, Kelly. He looked to me like a schizophrenic all the way across the floor.
You shouldn't have given him a thought. Doctor, he was my date, not yours.
That was his mentality. The rest of him, well...
She was beautiful, though.
Who?
That girl you were with?
I thought you didn't notice.
You bumped into us twice. How could I help it?
Well, not that it makes any difference to you, but that girl is a charming little lady. She has a sweet, kind disposition, and she knows how to conduct herself.
Funny she couldn't write a better date on a Saturday night.
And she has an excellent mind.
Why doesn't she use it?
Oh, I don't suppose you're to be censored for that flippant hard shell of yours. You're probably just compensating for something.
I am not, and don't use any of your psychiatry on me.
Oh, if I could try something else on you, just once, just to see if you'd melt under any circumstances, I doubt it.
You'll never know, Doctor.
Because you interest me as a case history. I'd like to see where you get that inflated ego.
Well, if you're the meanest person, inflated ego, case history.
Don't run away, let's finish it.
Oh, leave me alone!
Gladly.
Boys, rest! Yes, Sergeant. No accident reports on him either in town or the suburbs? Look, Sergeant, I don't know, maybe we'd better... never mind, Sergeant, they're here now. Mr. Dowd.
Good evening, my dear. These are for you.
Thank you.
They're quite fresh, too. I just picked them outside.
I hope Dr. Chumley didn't see you. They're his prized dahlias. Did he go upstairs?
Not knowing, I cannot state. Those colors are lovely against your hair.
I never wear burnt orange. It's such a trying color.
You'd improve any color, my dear.
Thank you. Did Dr. Chumley go over to his house?
I don't know. Where is Dr. Sanderson?
There, I think.
Thank you.
Dowd, there you are.
Dr. Sanderson, I have a cab waiting outside if it's possible for you and Miss Kelly to get away now.
Where is Dr. Chumley?
Is he coming with us? That's nice.
I don't know, Doctor.
I must apologize for being a few seconds late. I thought Miss Kelly should have some flowers. After what happened out here this afternoon, Doctor, the flowers really should be from you. As you grow older and pretty women pass you by, you'll think with deep gratitude of these generous girls of your youth. Shall we go now?
Just a minute, Dowd. The situation has changed since you left this afternoon, but I urge you to have no resentments. Dr. Chumley is your friend. He only wants to help you.
That's very nice of him. I would like to help him too.
If you'll begin by taking a cooperative attitude, why, that's half the battle. We all have to face reality, Dowd, sooner or later.
Doctor, I wrestled with reality for 40 years, and I am happy to state that I finally won out over it. Will you and Miss Kelly join me now down at Charlie's?
Here you are. Upstairs, buddy. We're going upstairs. Is the doctor okay?
There must be some mistake. Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly and I are going downtown for a drink. I would be glad if you would join us, Mr.
Wilson?
Wilson. They have a wonderful floor show.
Yeah? Well, wait till you see the floor show we got upstairs, buddy.
Just a minute, Wilson. Where did you say Dr. Chumley went, Dowd?
As I said, he could not confide his plans in me.
You mean the doctor ain't showed up yet?
Not yet.
Where is he?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Mr. Dowd walked in here all by himself.
Oh, he did, eh? Listen, you talk fast or I'm working you over.
Mr. Wilson, I'd rather you didn't do that, and I'd rather you didn't even mention such a thing in the presence of a lovely young lady like Miss Kelly.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Chumley went to town to pick you up. That was 4 hours ago.
Where's the evening gone to?
Listen to that. Smart, eh?
Did you see Dr. Chumley tonight, Dowd?
Yes, I did. He came into Charlie's place at dinner time. It is a cozy spot. Let's all go down there and talk it over with a tall one.
We're going no place. Now I'm asking you a question, and if you don't button up your lip and give me some straight answers, I'm gonna beat it out of you.
Well, you suggest it's impossible.
What's that?
You suggest that I button up my lip and give you some straight answers. It can't be done.
Let me handle this, Wilson.
Well, handle it then. Find out where the doctor is.
Dr. Chumley did come into Charlie's place, you said.
He did, and I was very glad to see him.
Go on.
He had asked for me, and naturally, the proprietor brought him over and left him. We exchanged the conventional greetings. I said, "How do you do, Dr. Chumley?" And he said, "How do you do, Mr. Dowd?" I believe we said that at least once.
Okay.
I'm trying to be factual, and then I introduced him to Harvey.
To who?
Big white rabbit, 6 feet tall.
6 feet?
6 feet 1.5.
Okay, fooling around with him, the doctor's probably someplace bleeding to death in a ditch.
Those were his plans for the evening. He did not tell me.
Go on, Dowd.
Dr. Chumley sat down in the booth with us. I was seated on the outside like so. Harvey was seated on the inside near the wall, and Dr. Chumley was seated across from Harvey where he could get a look at him.
That's right, spend all night on his seating arrangements.
Harvey then suggested that I buy him a drink. Knowing that he does not like to drink alone, I suggested to Dr. Chumley that we join him.
And so?
We joined him.
Go on.
We joined him again.
Then what?
We kept right on joining him.
Skip all the joining.
Mr. Wilson, you were asking me to skip a large portion of the evening.
Tell us what happened. Come on, please.
Dr. Chumley and Harvey got into a conversation. Quietly at first, but later on it got rather heated and Dr. Chumley raised his voice.
Yeah, why?
Harvey seemed to think that the doctor should assume part of the financial responsibility of the joining, but the doctor didn't seem to want to do so.
Oh, I can leave that part of it.
Let him talk, see how far he'll go. This guy's got guts.
I agreed to take the whole thing because I did not want any trouble. We go down to Charlie's place quite often, Harvey and I. And the proprietor is a fine man with an interesting approach to life. Then the other matter came up.
Cut the damn double talk and get on with it.
Mr. Wilson, you are a very sincere type of person, but I must ask you not to use such language in the presence of Miss Kelly.
You're right, Dowd, and we're sorry. You say the other matter came up?
There was a beautiful blonde woman, a Mrs. Smethels, and her escort seated in the booth across from us. Dr. Chumley went over to sit next to her, saying that they'd once met in Chicago. Her escort then escorted Dr. Chumley back to me and Harvey and tried to point out that it might be better for him to mind his own affairs. Does he have any?
Does he have any what?
Does he have any affairs?
How would I know?
Please hurry, Mr. Dowd. We're all so worried.
Dr. Chumley suggested to Harvey that he join him at Blondie's Chicken Inn. Harvey wanted to go to Eddie's place instead. While they were arguing, I went over to the bar to get another drink. When I came back, they were gone.
Where did they go? I mean, where did the doctor go?
I don't know. I had a date out here with Dr. Sampson and Miss Kelly, and I came out here with a cab to pick them up, hoping later on we might run into the doctor and Harvey and make a party of it.
So, you satisfied? You got his story. Okay, you're lying and we know it.
I never lie, Mr. Wilson.
You've done something with the doctor and I'm finding out what it is.
Don't touch him, Wilson.
Maybe he's not lying, Wilson.
That's all this guy is a bunch of lies. You don't believe this story he tells about that doctor sitting there talking to a big white rabbit, do you?
Maybe the doctor did go to Charlie's place.
And saw a big rabbit, I suppose?
And why not? Harvey was there. At first the doctor seemed a little frightened of Harvey, but that gave way to admiration as the evening wore on. As the evening wore on. That's a nice expression. With your permission, I'll say it again. As the evening wore on.
With your permission, I'm gonna knock your teeth down your throat.
Mr. Wilson, haven't you some old friends? You can go play.
The nerve of this guy. He could come out here with an ordinary piece of DT. No, he had to come out with a 6-foot rabbit.
Stimulating as all this is, I must be getting downtown.
Charlie's place? Is Dr. Chumley anywhere around there? He was there earlier in the evening with Mr. Dowd. What? Well, don't bite my head off. My, that man was mad. He said Mr. Dowd was welcome any time, but his friend was not.
That's Mr. McNulty, the bartender. He thinks a lot of me. Now let's all go downtown and have a drink.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Dowd.
Yes, my dear. May I hold your hand?
Yes, if you'd like. Mr. Dowd, Mrs. Chumley is so worried. Something must have happened to the doctor. Would you please try and remember anything else that might help her, anything at all?
For you, I'd do anything, my dear. I would almost be willing to live my life over again. Almost. But I've told it all.
You're sure?
Quite sure. But ask me again, won't you? I like that warm tone you had in your voice just then.
So did I.
Oh, nuts.
What? Nuts! Oh, I must be going. I have things to do.
Mr. Dowd, what is it that you do?
Harvey and I go into the drinks, go into the bars, and we sit and have a drink and play the jukebox. Soon the faces of the other people turn towards ours and smile. They're saying, "We don't know your name, mister, but you're a lovely fellow." Harvey and I warm ourselves in all these golden moments. We enter as strangers. Soon we have friends. They come over to us, they sit with us, they drink with us, they talk to us. They tell about the big, terrible things they have done, the big, wonderful things they will do. Their hopes, their regrets, their loves, their hates. All very large because nobody ever brings anything small to the bar. And then I introduce them to Harvey. And he is bigger and grander than anything they have to offer me. When they leave impressed. The same people seldom come back. But that's envy, my dear. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. Too bad, isn't it?
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Harvey is his name.
How do you know that?
That was a rather interesting coincidence. One night, several years ago, I was walking along Fairfax Street, between 18th and 19th. You know that block?
Yes.
I just helped Ed Hickey into a taxi. Ed had been mixing his rye with his gin, and I felt he needed conveying. As I started to walk down the street, I heard a voice behind me say, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." I turned and saw a great white rabbit leaning against a lamppost. Well, I thought nothing of that, because when you've lived in a town as long as I've lived in this one, you get used to the fact that everybody knows your name. Naturally, I went over to talk to him. He said, "Ed Hickey's a little spiffed this evening, or am I mistaken?" Of course, he was not mistaken. I think the world and all of Ed, but he was spiffed. Anyway, we stood and chatted, and eventually I said, "You have the advantage of me. You know my name, and I don't know yours." Right back at me, he said, "What name do you like?" Well, I didn't even have to think a minute. Harvey's always been my favorite name. So I said, "Harvey." And he said, this is the interesting part. He said, "What a coincidence. My name happens to be Harvey."
What was your father's name, Dowd?
John Frederick.
Dowd, when you were a child, you must have had a playmate, someone with whom you spent many happy, carefree hours.
Oh, yes, Doctor. Didn't you?
What was his name?
Vern McElhenney. Did you ever know the McElhenneys, Doctor?
No.
Too bad. There were a lot of them, and they circulated. Wonderful people.
Please, Mr. Dowd, think carefully. There must be someone, someplace, sometime that you've known by the name of Harvey. Haven't you known anyone by that name?
No, Doctor. No one. Maybe that's why I always had such hopes for it.
Come on, Wilson. We'll take Mr. Dowd upstairs now.
I'm taking him no place. You've made this your show, now you run it. Letting him sit there forgetting all about Dr. Chumley? Okay, it's your show, you run it.
Very well. Come on, Dowd. Elwood.
Very well, Lyman, but I'm afraid I can't stay long. I promised I would take Harvey to the floor soon.
Oh, boy. Dr. Chumley, are you all right?
All right, of course I'm all right. I'm being followed. Lock that door.
Who is following you?
None of your business. Wilson! Wilson!
How did you get out here, Doctor? I just saw you going there.
I went out through my window. Wilson, don't leave me!
No, Doctor.
Get that man Dowd out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
No, don't leave
But
me!
you said to...
Dumpy, on the telephone.
Yes, Doctor. Dumpy, get that guy Dowd his clothes and get him down here right away.
No, don't leave me!
Just a minute, Doctor. Judge Gaffney.
I want to see Dr. Trump.
Hi, Myrtle.
Hello.
We've got to talk. This thing is serious.
It certainly is.
More serious than you suspect. Where can we go to talk?
Not in there.
The doctor doesn't want you in his office.
No, sir.
Then sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May.
Sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May. Don't go, Wilson. Don't leave me.
Oh, here are my notes. The facts. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you. Is that good?
Now, Sean, has it ever occurred to you that there possibly might be something like this great white rabbit? Harvey?
Of course there isn't. And anybody who thinks so is crazy. Well, don't look at me like that. There's nothing funny about me. I'm like my father's side of the family. They're all dead.
Oh. Now then, my client, the plate, Miss Veda Louise Simmons, on the morning of November the 2nd, while standing in the kitchen of her home, turned and saw this great white rabbit. He was staring at her. Resenting the intrusion, the plaintiff made certain remarks and drove the creature from her home. He went.
What did she say to him?
She was emphatic. The remarks are not important.
I want to know how she got this creature out of her sanitarium. I mean, her home.
I hate to have you tell him, Judge. It isn't a bit like Mother.
Quit stalling. Let's have it.
She looked him right in the eye and exclaimed, in the heat of anger, "To hell with you!"
To hell with you! He left?
Yes, he left, but that's beside the point. The point is it perjury, or is it something we can cope with? I ask for your opinion.
Ruthie, I've been looking all over for you.
Dr. Sanderson! Disregard the remarks I made this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You're a very astute young man.
Oh, Lyman, did you hear?
Oh, baby!
See you later.
Oh.
We've got to take Uncle Elwood out here, Doctor.
No, I want the sanitarium the way it was before that man came out here this afternoon.
I know what you mean.
You do?
Well, certainly it gets on anybody's nerves the way Uncle Elwood knows what's going to happen before it happens. Take this morning, for instance. He told us that Harvey told him that Mrs. McElhenney's Aunt Rose was going to drop in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland.
And did she?
Did she what?
Aunt Rose, did she drop in unexpectedly from Cleveland just as Harvey said she would?
Oh yes, things like that always happen the way Uncle Elwood says they will. But what do we care about the McElhenneys?
And you say this sort of thing happens often?
Yes, and isn't it silly? Uncle Elwood tells us that Harvey tells him everything. Harvey knows everything. How can he when there's no such thing as Harvey?
Fly specks! I've been living my life amongst fly specks while miracles have been leading on lampposts on 18th and Fairfax.
Good. Nobody here but people.
Mother, I told you not to come out here.
Well, good evening. I brought you Uncle Elwood's bathrobe. Well, why are you all just standing around here? I thought you'd be committing him.
Sit down there, girl.
I will not sit down there.
So, how about you and me stepping out on Saturday night, Myrtle May?
Certainly not. Myrtle May, come here.
Sorry.
Is it settled?
It will be.
Doctor, may I give an opinion?
Yes, by all means.
His opinion. Omar, he's the one I was telling you about. The eyes!
It's my diagnosis that Elwood be Dowd is suffering from a third-degree hallucination, and the other party concerned is the victim of autosuggestion. I recommend Formula 977 for Dowd and some bed rest at home for...
You do?
That's my diagnosis, Doctor.
Mr. Dowd will not see this rabbit anymore after this injection. We've used it in hundreds of psychopathic cases.
Don't you call my brother a psychopathic case? There's never been anything like that in our family.
If you didn't think Uncle Elwood was psychopathic, why did you have him put out here?
Well, where else could I bring him? I couldn't bring him to jail, could I? Besides, this is not your Uncle Elwood's fault. In a town full of people, why did Harvey have to bother Elwood?
Stop putting your oar in, keep your oar out. If this shock formula brings Elwood back to reality, give it to him. That's what we want.
I'm not sure that would work in a case of this kind, Doctor.
It always has.
Well, Harvey always follows Elwood home.
He does?
Yes, but if you give him this injection, then he won't see Harvey and he won't let him in. Then, when he comes to the door, I'll deal with him.
Mother, won't you stop talking about Harvey as if there was such a thing?
Myrtle May, you've got a lot to learn. And I hope you never learn it.
He's coming.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elwood. I brought you your bathrobe.
Thank you, Beta.
What do we do, Doctor? We've got to do something.
Oh, yes, we must.
I should say so.
Yes, it's imperative.
Well, while we're all making up our minds, why don't we go down to Charlie's place and have a drink?
Oh, no, Elwood. You stay here.
Yes, Uncle Elwood.
Stay here, son.
I plan to leave. You want me to stay. An element of conflict in any conversation is a good thing. It means that everybody's taking part and nobody's left out. I like that. Oh, how did you get along with Harvey, Doctor?
We're waiting for your answer, Doctor.
What?
What's your decision?
I have to be alone with this man. Will you all step into the other room for a moment? I'll have my diagnosis done shortly.
Do hurry, Doctor.
I will.
You stay here, Elwood.
Here, Mr. Dowd, let me give you this chair. Let me give you a cigar. Is there anything else I can get for you?
What did you have in mind?
Mr. Dowd, what kind of a man are you? Where did you come from?
Didn't I give you one of my cards?
And where on the face of this tired old earth did you find a thing like him?
Harvey the Puka?
Is it true that he has a function? That he
Gets advance notice? I'm happy to say it is. Harvey is versatile. Harvey can stop clocks.
What?
You've heard that expression, his face would stop a clock?
Yes, but why? To what purpose?
Harvey says that he can look at your clock at any time and stop it. And you can go away for as long as you like, with whomever you like, and go as far as you like. When you come back, not 1 minute will have ticked by.
You mean that he actually...
Einstein has overcome time and space. Harvey has overcome not only time and space, but any objectives.
And does he do this for you?
He's willing to at any time, but I've never been able to think of any place that I would rather be. I always have a wonderful time right where I am, whomever I'm with. I'm having a fine time with you right now, Doctor. Corona, Corona.
I know where I'd go.
Where?
I'd go to Akron.
Akron.
There's a beautiful cottage camp just outside of Akron in a grove of maple trees. Cool, green, beautiful.
My favorite tree.
I would go there with a pretty young woman, a strange woman, a quiet woman.
Under a tree?
I wouldn't even want to know her name. I would just be, Mr. Brown.
Why wouldn't you want to know her name? You might be acquainted with the same people.
I would send out for cold beer. I would tell her things that I've never told anyone before. Things that are locked in here. And then I'd send out for more cold beer.
No whiskey.
Beer's better.
Maybe under a tree, but you might like a highball.
I wouldn't let her talk to me. But as I talked to her, I would want her to reach out a soft white hand and stroke my head and say, "Poor thing, oh you poor, poor thing."
How long would you like this to go on?
2 weeks.
Wouldn't that get monotonous? Just Akron beer and poor, poor thing?
No, it would not. It would be wonderful.
I can't help but feel you're making a mistake in not allowing that woman to talk. If she gets around at all, she might have picked up some interesting little news items. And I'm sure you're making a mistake with all that beer and no whiskey. But it's your 2 weeks.
Cold beer at Akron in one last fling? God, man!
Do you think you'd like to lie down for a while?
No, Mr. Dowd. Now, could he, would he do this for me?
He could, and he might. I've never heard Harvey say a word against Akron. By the way, Doctor, where is Harvey?
Why, don't you know?
The last time I saw him, he was with you.
Ah!
Oh, he's probably waiting for me down at Charlie's place.
That's right. He's down at Charlie's.
Excuse me, Doctor.
No, Mr. Dowd, not in there.
I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to my friend, Dr. Sanderson.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson is not your friend. None of those people are your friends. I am your friend.
Thank you, Doctor, and I'm yours.
But the sister of yours, she's at the bottom of this conspiracy against you. Today she had commitment papers drawn up. She has your power of attorney and the key to your safety box. Hell, she brought you out.
My sister did all this in one afternoon. My Veda is certainly a whirlwind.
God, man, haven't you any righteous indignation?
Doctor, my mother used to say to me, "In this world, Elwood," she always called me Elwood. She would say, "In this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart or oh so pleasant." For years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote me.
Just the same, I will protect you if it involves committing your sister. Would you like me to do that?
No, Doctor. Not unless Veda wanted it that way. Oh, not that you don't have a nice place out here, but I think Veda would be happier at home with me and Harvey and Myrtle May. Miss Kelly, diviner graces never brighten this enchanting face. Oh, it's mythology. My dear, you will never look lovelier.
I'll never feel happy, Mr. Dowd, I know it.
Well.
Yes, Doctor.
I wonder if I'd be able to remember any more of that poem.
Say, maybe this rabbit gag's a good one. Kelly never kissed me.
Oh, it has always been my favorite poet.
Okay, pal, you're discharged. This way out.
Wilson, get your hands off that man!
What?
Apologize to him!
Apologize to him? This guy with the rabbit?
Apologize!
I apologize. This is the door.
If I leave, I'll remember.
Mr. Dowd, do women often come up to you and kiss you like Miss Kelly did just now?
Every once in a while.
Yes?
I encourage it too.
To hell with decency! I've got to have that rabbit! Go ahead and knock.
Dr. Sanderson.
Just a minute, Dowd. Doctor, do you agree with my diagnosis?
Yes, call them all in.
Mrs. Simmons, Judge Gaffney, will you step in here for a minute, please?
Now then, is it all settled?
I find I concur with Dr. Sanderson.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a relief.
Good boy.
Well, let's celebrate. I've got some new bars listed in the back of this book. We could go to...
This injection carries a violent reaction. We can't give it to him without his consent. Will he give it?
Of course he will, if I ask him to.
To give up this rabbit? I doubt it.
Don't ask him. Just give it to
Well,
him.
if it's a drive-in.
Elwood.
We'll go to Benny's drive-in. We'd better telephone for a table. How many of us will there be, Veda?
Oh, Elwood!
Mr. Dowd, I have a formula, 977, that will be good for you. Will you take it?
Elwood, you won't see this rabbit anymore.
But you will see your responsibilities, your duties
I'm
become...
sure if you look at it that way, it sounds like a very fine thing. And if I happen to run into anybody who needs it, I'll be glad to recommend it. But for myself, I wouldn't care for it.
You see, Doctor, you see, Judge, this is what we have to put up with.
Do you want me to take this, Veda?
Elwood, I'm only thinking of you. I'm your sister. I've known you for years. I would do anything for you. This Harvey wouldn't do anything for you. Why, he's making a fool out of you, Elwood. Don't be a fool.
Oh, I won't.
Why, you could amount to something. You could be sitting on the Western Slope waterboard right now if you'd only go over there and ask them.
If that's what you want, Veda, Harvey and I will go over and ask them tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I don't want to see another together tomorrow. Not if it means that Myrtle May and I have to live another day in that house with Harvey. Our friends never come to visit us. We have no social lives. We have no lives at all. I wish I were dead. But maybe you don't care.
I've always wanted Veda to have everything she wants. Are you sure, Veda? I'll take it. Where do I go?
In Dr. Sanderson's office, Dowd.
Say goodbye to the old fellow for me, won't you?
How long will this take, Doctor?
Only a few minutes. Why don't you wait?
All right. We'll wait. Oh.
He said it wouldn't take long.
Now, Mother, don't fidget.
Oh, how can I help it?
How stunning. Mother, can you see me in a house coat of this material?
Yes, but let me get a good night's sleep first.
Come in.
I'm looking for a... Oh, there you are. Lady, you jumped out of the cab without paying me.
Oh, yes, I forgot. How much is it?
All the way out here from town, $2.75.
$2.75? That's funny. I could have sworn I brought my coin purse. Myrtle May, do you have any money I could use to pay this man?
I spent all the money Uncle Al would give me in my hairdo for the party.
Judge, do you have $2.75 I could use to pay this man?
Sorry, nothing but a check.
We don't take checks.
I know!
Doctor, do you have $2.75 I could borrow to pay this cab driver?
I haven't got my wallet. No time to get it now. Have to get on with this injection. Sorry.
Well, I'll get it from my brother, but he's in there to get an injection. It won't be long. You'll have to wait.
You're gonna get my money from your brother, and he's in there to get some of that stuff they shoot out here?
Yes, it won't be but a few minutes.
Lady, I want my money now.
And I said it wouldn't be but a few minutes. Besides, I want you to drive us back to town anyways.
And I told you I want my money now, or I'm nosing the cab back to town, and you can wait for the bus at 6 in the morning.
Well, of all the pig-headed, stubborn
I
things...
should say so.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing that $2.75 won't fix.
Well,
You heard me, take it or leave it.
I never... Dr. Chumley, will you let Elwood step out here a minute? This cab driver won't wait!
Don't be too long.
Elwood, I came up without my coin purse. Would you give this man $2.75? But don't give him any more. He's been very rude.
How do you do? Todd is my name, Elwood Pete.
Lofgren's mine, E.J.
This is my sister, Veda Louise Simmons, my charming little niece, Myrtle May Simmons, Judge Gaffney, and Dr. Tumley.
Hi.
Have you lived around here long, Mr. Lofgren?
Yeah, I've lived around here all my life.
Do you enjoy your work?
It's okay. I've been driving for Apex Cabs around 15 years. My brother Joe's been driving for Brown's Cabs pretty near 12.
You drive for Apex and your brother Joe for Browns? That's interesting, isn't it, Veda? Mr. Lofgren, let me give you one of my cards.
You better get on with this, Mr. Dowd.
Certainly, 1 minute. My sister, my charming little niece, live with me at this address. I'd be glad if you would join us with your brother one evening.
Sure, be glad to.
When? When would you be glad to?
I couldn't come any night but Tuesday. I'm on duty all the rest of the week.
You must come on Tuesday, then. We'll expect you, and be delighted to see you, won't we, Veda?
Oh, Elwood, I'm sure this man has friends of his own.
One can't have too many friends, Veda.
Elwood, don't keep Dr. Chumley waiting. That's rude.
Certainly. Here you are. Keep the change. I'll expect you Tuesday with your brother, and I'm very glad to have met you. Will you excuse me?
Sure. Sweet guy.
Certainly. You could just as well have waited.
Oh, no. Listen, lady, I've been driving this route for 15 years. I've drove them out here to get that stuff, and I drove them back after they had it. It changes them.
Well, I certainly hope so.
And you ain't kidding. On the way out here, they sit back and enjoy the ride. They talk to me. Sometimes we stop and watch the sunsets, or look at the birds flying. Sometimes we watch the birds when there ain't no birds, or look at sunsets when it's raining. We always have a swell time, and I always get a big tip. But afterwards, oh.
Afterwards, oh. What do you mean afterwards, oh?
They crab. They yell at me to watch the lights, watch the brakes, watch the intersections. They scream at me to hurry. They got no faith in me or my buggy. Yet it's the same cab, the same driver, and we're going back over the very same road. It's no fun. No tips.
But my brother would have been giving you a big tip anyways. He's very generous, always has been.
Not after this he won't be. Lady, after this he'll be a perfectly normal human being. And you know what bastards they are. Glad I met you. I'll wait.
Oh, Judge Gaffney! Oh, Myrtle May! Stop it! Stop it! Don't give it to him!
Stop this! Stop it! Keep pulling my dog! Let it go! Stop it!
Shut up! I've lived longer than you. I remember your mother. I remember my
What's
mother.
all this commotion?
What's the trouble, Doctor? She's sounding off again.
He wants to stop the injection.
You haven't already given it to him, have you?
No, but we're ready. Wilson, take Mrs. Simmons away.
Get your hands off me, you white slaver!
You don't know what you want. You don't want this rabbit either.
And so what if Myrtle May and Elwood and I want to live with Harvey? It's nothing to you, none of your business. You don't even have to come around anymore. Elwood!
There, Veda. Veda's all tired out. She's done a lot today.
Have it your way. I'm not giving up my game at the club again, no matter how big the animal is.
Come on, Elwood, let's get out of here. We should never see this place. I hate it.
But see,
It's whatever Veda says, Doctor.
That's funny. My coin purse. I could have paid that cab driver myself. Harvey. Come on, Elwood. Come on, Myrtle May.
Good night, Doctor. Tell me. Good night.
Come
Mr.
along, Elwood.
Doctor, for years I've known what my family thinks of Harvey, but I've often wondered what Harvey's family thinks of me. You understand? There you are! Do you mind, Doctor? You're standing in his way. Where have you been, Harvey? I've been looking all over the place for you.
Lovely sponsors who have paid attention to every last detail from the very beginning of these 3 months that we've spent working on this. So could we please call up Frau Schultz and Mrs. Dittis to the stage? encouragement and help of these beautiful women, we would not be standing here in front of you, and this club probably wouldn't exist. So, yeah, thank you.
We'd also like to thank our wonderful director Zoha, without whom the show wouldn't even be possible. So, thank you, Zoha. As you leave, please pick up the trash. Trash around you, and drive home safely. Thank you so much for coming to the performance.